Dissent Into The Wormhole, where we discuss everything from ancient civilization to modern day social issues and everything in between. I'm Les.
And I'm Stevie J, and today we're talking about another part of our cult series. This is our second cult that we're covering, and it's called OneTaste. And you might have heard of it from the Netflix documentary called Orgasm Inc. So, yes, right, we're talking about sex, baby. Let's talk about you. And so, can't help it. But we're talking about Orgasm Inc. or OneTaste, which is a sex cult that was created by Nicole Daedone in the 2000s. And we're going to go through what makes it a cult, what it was. And look, at the outset, it sounds great, doesn't it?
It does.
Orgasms all around.
Yeah, it does.
But, like most of these cults, it starts out sounding good and then not so good after a while. So... Yeah,
that's how they lure you in. They're like, right. All of this can fix you, and because we're all inherently broken, and all of these things going on, and I got the thing that'll give you everything you want.
Of course, and in this case, an orgasm, which we know sex sells, doesn't it?
It does.
And so the interesting part about this is the fine line for me is between orgasmic therapy, let's call it, which sounds good. And it actually does sound good.
Yeah.
And sex work. Where's the difference there? So employees of OneTaste, which we'll get into, but employees of OneTaste who are, let's say, getting paid to make people orgasm. Sounds a little bit like a massage parlor, doesn't it?
It does.
It sounds very Thailand-esque.
I can go down the street and get that. Thank you. And I do not have to sign up or give my life away to anybody.
Exactly. And you don't have to pay $60,000 either.
Oh, no. Much. I was just going to say much cheaper, like I know.
The rates down here so much cheaper. So I guess we should just describe a little bit about OneTaste. We sort of touched on it, right? But so Nicole Daedone, a woman, created this cult. Now, she started out, as it sounds, OM, isn't it? Orgasmic Meditation is what she said. And she has this technique where women can have an orgasmic experience for 15 minutes through stimulation. Right? Did I say that right?
We may have to edit that out, but you did read that right.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, anyways, that's what it is. But so that's how it was sold. And then so she was selling it as self-help, as in a wellness thing, like mental health and a connection, having connections with people. Yeah. And then people started living at the place, didn't they? At the business, they were living there, all these people who were giving each other orgasmic meditation. And so one of the things for me that was a little strange was that, you go to a massage place, right? Just not one that's a little risque, but just a massage place. And they have separate rooms for everybody.
Right.
Separate little rooms for everyone to get their massages.
Yeah.
But all of these women were lining up in the same room next to each other.
Right. Pants off with all these different guys in there, touching them and giving them these orgasms. So whether it be your partner or not.
Right, exactly.
You were literally side by each, in the pictures that we saw, it's just a whole bunch of yoga mats and meditation pillows, and that's where you go and you do your thing. No. No.
Right. Well, that's just it. Again, so the idea of it, the premise of it seems good.
Yes.
It seems fun, but it starts off all these people lined up next to each other. Now, they're adults, they're consenting, great, that's fine. But it escalates into something much darker later on.
Yeah.
But there's these interviews. Now, I recommend people watch the Orgasm Inc. Documentary on Netflix. But you have these people who are these guys who are oh, sex, yay, I get to touch women, yay. And so they join up and then they become part of the OneTaste team. And so, and it's starting to expand. And she got celebrity support, like Gwyneth Paltrow and a few other people. She was on, some big podcasts.
She did a TED Talk.
She did a TED Talk, magazine covers, the whole works. And they started to have these centers all around the
Mhm.
world as well. And you're going, okay, so it's orgasmic meditation. She's got this technique, la da 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 da. But the cost, now, one of the things with cults that always happens is there's a cost, always.
Well, nothing's free.
Nothing's free. But, some of these sessions and master classes, well,
Oh, many.
they were like 10 grand, 15 grand, some of them up to 60 grand.
60 grand for a year-long membership or something, or a lifetime or whatever. I don't know.
I think it was a year.
So, but my question is, once you know how to do this, and we'll get into like someone that I used to be in circles with.
Mm-hmm.
So once you know how to do the Om, what more do you need?
Yeah, like
we can do that at home.
Okay. Now, good point. Like, because we could pay once,
right?
And we said this, didn't we? Like, I may pay once just to learn how to do it.
Just once.
But once I know how to do it, why don't I just walk out,
right,
and be like, cool,
yeah, I know
I'm done. Like, why do I need it to pay another 60 grand to keep going back,
right,
to do something I already know how to do?
Right. Now, if she's tying in the meditation part, that's where I can see you keep going back, because for meditation, when you meditate in groups, I love it. I love meditating in groups. I love to feel the energy of the people, and the experience is just so much different. So that I understand. That's what I understand. Like, if she's selling it as a meditation, because she did sell it as a orgasmic meditation.
Right.
So if you're going back for the meditation part, that I understand.
Yeah.
We pay for meditation classes and groups all the time. No big deal. But when you're, so like, am I taking my pants off every single time? Is my question.
Right. Yeah,
or am I just going to sit on my meditation
and do
pillow
meditation
and have a really nice calm, and I'm going to say that word, calm experience? Because the videos that we saw of where these people lived, it's not calm.
No,
it's not
frantic.
zen. It's mayhem.
And there's lots of just sexually charged energy. Lots of people, guys as well, girl, like all this sexually charged energy, and I don't know. I would be very uncomfortable in a place like that.
I would last 3 minutes.
Yeah. And so it started off with the women, right? So it's all about, in the beginning anyway, female orgasms and stuff.
Female empowerment.
Yeah.
Because for a lot of women, the orgasms just aren't acceptable, I want to say. Like, we get shamed, we get told it's bad, we get told that we're bad girls if we do those things.
If you enjoy it.
If you enjoy it, you're really, really bad. You're going straight to the downstairs. Like, so we're very, very closed off as women when it comes to sex. Very, very closed off. So she was bringing this to the forefront as a very good thing, I feel, to say, hey, you don't need to be shamed.
Yeah.
You don't need to feel shame if you want to feel good.
Right.
Like, if it wasn't supposed to be there for pleasure, it wouldn't be there, and it wouldn't feel good.
And if you weren't supposed to feel pleasure, you wouldn't feel pleasure. Like, it wouldn't be there. Yeah.
Right.
But it's been made to feel bad about feeling good.
Yes.
Yeah.
So she was bringing that sexual empowerment to the forefront. And I'm all for that. I'm all for that. No one should be shamed for whatever they like.
Yeah.
I don't care what you like. You shouldn't be shamed for it. So she took that and she ran with it.
Boy, did she run. She
run.
swam and she cycled. I mean,
she even swung from the chandelier.
She did. Well, then, okay, so still with the females, right? So it's still the females, but you've got to imagine, and for people who haven't seen the documentary, it's becoming an organization. You've got employees, you've got staff, you've got like all this stuff, right?
Better have an HR department.
Oh dear.
Better have an HR department.
So but a lot of the bookings for the courses were men because they're learning how to. Now, again, like, it could be completely great intentions, good intentions, genuine intentions to learn how to do this for their partner or upcoming partner, just to learn how to do it. But what was happening was that they were getting, say, out of 10 people booking for a course, 8 of them would be male 2 of them would be female, but everyone needs a female partner for this. So that means that there were all these men who signed up for the course, paid their money, but had no female partner to learn with. So what did Nicole Daedone do? She said to her female employees, you need to get on the table and let these strangers practice on you, touch you, give you an orgasm, or try to, learn how to do it. So there, all of a sudden, you go, well, hang on a minute. These are employees being told to take their pants off and get on a table and let a stranger touch them. Okay, that's one thing. Then, I mean, when you were in your old job, you used to have, people would have disagreements at work.
Absolutely.
Of course, right? So, like any organization, there was people who didn't always get along at OneTaste. So they would have a disagreement. And the resolution was have sex. So employees would be having a disagreement, an argument or something, and they'd be told, stop, no more of this, you two go away, have sex, and don't come back until you've had sex. That was the resolution. And the guy and the girl felt really, really awkward about it, and we continue to be baffled by this because they actually went and had sex. They both said they felt uncomfortable, then they went and did it.
Yeah. It's like, well, no one's going to know.
Right.
No one is going to know.
Exactly.
And here is where the brainwashing, and here is where her chipping away at their moral compass, at whatever they thought was right, wrong, or indifferent before, is now starting to morph and shift.
Yes.
Because they fucking did it.
They did. Yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
And we said as well, why didn't they just go out the back, and knock on wood, so to speak, and then just come back and go, yeah, we did it. Yeah, totally did it. Because no one would know.
No.
But they actually did it. And it's, to me, I just can't I don't understand that. But even that is not the worst that happened. And it just kept evolving and getting worse and worse and worse. And then she got to the point where she did this thing. This is Nicole Daedone, when I say she, the leader of it. And she trained other people to do this on her behalf as well. But remember when she was like, people would stand in front of her and then she would tear them down, just pick on every little thing about them, just insult them until they were in tears, like crying and completely broken. And she sold it as, breaking down barriers to, learn and rebuild and all this kind of stuff. But it actually crushed a lot of people.
It did. Well, what she was doing, she was breaking people down and then building them up to what she wanted.
That's right. Yes.
To what she, to behave and think in any way, shape, or form that she wanted.
Yes.
So breaking people down, first of all, no. Go fuck yourself. Go home yourself.
Go.
Yeah. And then to turn around and have the audacity to build them back up in only the manner that you see fit.
Exactly.
Who are you?
Right.
Who is anyone to say, I don't like how you're being, so I'm going to rip you to shreds, and then only will you be fixed when you do what I want. Yeah.
Exactly. And she would keep asking too, and it keep asking questions, what's your barriers? What's that thing? What's your desire? What's your deep desire? And it didn't matter what people said. It could have been, like, I think one lady said having children was her. She was like, oh my God, I've had this thing. I want to have kids. And she was like, no, something else. There's something else. So she would keep asking and keep digging and digging and digging until it was something that she wanted them to say.
Right.
And something that she wanted them to have.
And it was usually tied to something that Nicole could do for them.
Of course. It was to do with an ohm or that lady who wanted to have kids. That was it. That was her thing. But Nicole kept pushing and pushing and digging, and she just made it up till she would stop. And she said, I want to do a group ohm. I want to
get on the table.
Get on the table in front of everybody and spread my legs. And Nicole was like, that's it. That's the one. And so she just made it up though to make it stop. And so it started to, it gets really, really damaging. And then, so females, getting sexual empowerment, all that stuff. Fantastic.
Yep.
Great. It starts to get a little dodgy when you start to bring in strangers with your employees, getting their pants off. Okay. And then, I mean, there's so many different ways that this just got worse. But then they started to do men as well, didn't they?
They did.
Homes for men. They didn't say they were doing it.
No.
But they were doing it.
Yes.
It wasn't part of the ads. It wasn't part of the promotions.
No. Well, I feel like quite well because sex sells and sex sells to men.
Mm-hmm.
So what better way than to sell a handy?
Yeah. It's just a hand shandy.
That's it. It's all it is.
And they're calling it meditation.
Yeah. Yeah. I could put a sign up on the lawn and say meditation, orgasmic meditation for men, and all I'm doing is giving hand shandies.
Exactly.
But I could call it therapeutic. I could call it whatever.
Put whatever bow on it you want.
Yeah. I can name it whatever I want, and then, all it is me giving hand shandies.
Exactly. And then dude's going home and he's like, meditated 5 times today. Look at me go. I'm so spiritual. Yeah. But that's what they started doing, and it's a very fine line then, I think, because now, like I said in the beginning, you're paying for a sexual service.
Yeah.
So where does it stop being a therapeutic meditation type thing and start being a sex act and start being, becoming a brothel?
Right.
This place. And she got worse. So that wasn't enough. Now, we've said this before so many times and it's the same with a lot of these cults, but especially with this one, with sex and everything, it actually was a great idea. Like, it was a good idea. Could have been fantastic and lasted forever. But they want to take it too far.
Mm-hmm.
And she wanted it to be a religion.
Mm-hmm.
And they even mentioned in the documentary that, she used methods of Scientology.
Yes.
And Danny Masterson was in the clips.
Yeah, it was really, it was just like right there in your face, because she took a piece of Scientology, she took pieces of Nexium, and she built upon that, because she's like, okay, well, it's obviously working for these people. What are these people doing to create this thing? Because she said she wanted to start a religion.
Right.
Like, because everyone knows if you start a religion, you're rich.
Yeah, no taxes and
you're rich. Like and no one can really touch you, as Scientology has taught us. Yeah, they flashed this picture of Danny Masterson. I'm like, well done, Netflix.
Yes.
Well done, played. Because that in my mind just said, okay, I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. So she was taking bits and pieces of that for sure. And yeah, it was a great idea. If she took it on the premise of she sold little online courses to couples or little online courses to individually, because she was in the age of the online space. Evergreen courses were very much available at this time. She could have very easily sold it online as a one thing and
sell it to couples.
It would have made her millions.
With no overheads either.
No, she wouldn't have had the lineup of, the hoo-ha row. She wouldn't have,
the hoochie row.
Yeah. She wouldn't have had to have all these people live together. She wouldn't have had to brainwash anyone. But her ex-husband did say she likes to see how far she can push people.
Yes. And that was her thing. And she wanted to control. She wanted to push.
Yeah.
She wanted to see what she could get away with.
Yeah.
And so she created, like all these other cults, when we talked about Scientology, we mentioned with Aaron, Aaron Smith, we talked about the levels. There's different levels, and of course you've got to pay to do all these levels. And so this was the same, but then she created a priest level, so you could become an orgasmic meditation priest, a OneTaste priest. Like, there was robes and everything, and nothing changed. It was just still the same thing, but she wanted to call it that. She wanted people to be priests, and then she even got that guy who was a former or a practicing Freemason to help create a ritual. And so there was like this, sexual ritual that people had to pay like $100,000 to go to or something. Yeah. And, part of it was her on the table getting her ohm on while all these other people were watching. And they were coming up and like touching her leg or something, to get the energy from her leg while she was orgasming. I mean,
now the thing is, I get that.
There would be energy.
There would be so much energy. Orgasmic energy is potent.
Oh,
so potent, and you can do so much with it. But if you get the wrong energy in there, if you get an energy that you don't want, something that doesn't vibe with you, it can do a lot of damage.
Mm-hmm.
So why would I let random people touch me as I'm going through and surfing through a 15-minute thing?
Right.
Why do I want other people touching
me?
That's for me and my partner to experience that potent energy. It's not up. Right. It's not up for sale.
It's not for grabs. It's not like the sign at the front for the hand shandies.
No, those are for grabs.
I got two hands, people. they're up for grabs. But you're right. Like, why would you want other people touching you? I mean, and that's why we said if it was just done for couples or focused on that, it could have gone on forever and made squillions. But she went too far. She even took it further. And she said, because, like a lot of these things, it sounds great. And that's why people get sucked in and they, become a part of these things. But then she started talking about male predatory behavior. So she started talking about how men are aggressive sometimes and they like angry sex and stuff, and how that's okay, and how women shouldn't be weak, basically be weak and give into or be afraid of that, and they should let the man get all this angry sexual energy out.
What the fuck did she call it? Release the beast?
Release the beast is what she said.
And if Stevie released the beast, and if I call him out and say, Stevie, you're being, aggressive. You're being too aggressive and, abusive. Mm-hmm. I am now being abusive to Stevie because I'm making him feel bad, or I'm calling out his shit.
Yeah, restricting
I'm restricting
beast.
Your madness.
Yeah.
I'm restricting you being, a true beast.
Yeah.
What the actual fuck?
So she's giving a green light.
Yes.
To dangerous behavior, basically, and abusive behavior.
Yeah.
And yes, exactly. Yeah. Well, literally, she said as well. Like, she ends up, this poor girl, she ends up literally setting up as part of her program, for this poor girl to be multiple times by multiple different people. I mean, it's just horrific to listen to. Yeah. But she also talks about how her dad, this is Nicole Daedone, the creator of OneTaste, the cult leader, she talks about her dad and how her dad was in prison for doing certain illegal things with young people, and she condones it. She's like, I don't see any problem with what he did. It's just society's rules that make it a bad thing.
Could you imagine sitting there as an adult and that happened to you as a child, and you have this woman saying in front of you,
don't be a victim.
Don't be a victim. No victims. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
I'm surprised she didn't, I'm surprised someone didn't harm her in some way.
Well, she literally says, I got a victim story. I got ARD, and all I got was a victim story.
Yeah, that's her T-shirt, and everybody in the room
everybody's
laughed.
like, oh, great, yeah. I'm like,
we're speechless.
Are you hearing what this biatch is saying? She's literally condoning and saying rape's fine. It's just another thing that happens.
Yep.
And I just, condoning the stuff with kids. I mean, it just got so crazy. And, this poor girl, she had so many issues, like weight loss she had, and just medical problems. Like, the doctors said she was pretty close to dying, actually, because of all the medical problems caused by the stress, caused by the physical abuse, by all of these things.
The emotional and mental abuse.
Yeah. And so, this is why we're talking about cults. This is why we're doing this series, because like all of them, they start out sounding good. And we even said, the orgasm thing sounds great. It sounds like a really good idea. Yeah. And then you go, and then she did what? And she did what? And she did what?
Yeah.
And you go, okay. And she had people blindly following her.
Yeah, she did. Now, before we get into this, because we'll get into the checklist just to see how it
stacks up.
How it stacks up with what Aaron Smith Levin said about Scientology.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so I used to be in a meditation group with
that's why you're so happy.
I used to be in a meditation group with other meditation teachers. It was like a place for teachers to get their meditation on and just to be the student just for a minute. So I was in that class. I was in that thing with her, and she taught orgasmic meditation. And because it was not something for us to sell our wares, like it was just for us to have a safe space. I never really went looking into what she did. All I knew is that she was happy and she was doing very, very well. That's all I knew.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden she disappeared. We keep going. And all of a sudden she just stopped showing up, which is fine. People disappear. Meditation group isn't a cult. People can leave.
Right.
But she literally disappeared off the face of the internet. Gone. And as we were watching this, I was like, oh my God, I wonder. And I'm not going to say her name because if she doesn't want to be associated with it, I'm not going to tie her to it. Or if I'm wrong, I could be wrong. I don't need to lose any more alpacas. But I went looking for her website and any of her stuff. You can't find it. Like, she has been scrubbed from the internet. Scrubbed.
Okay.
So I hope that she wasn't. I hope that was her decision on her own because she did mention that when she first went into the class, she's like, "Here I am taking my pants off in front of other people," and it happened. That comment happened so fast. I didn't have a chance to latch onto it of what she actually said.
Yeah.
It wasn't until we started watching this, I was like thinking back to all the conversations. And this was probably 2016, 2017.
Okay, so around
this time.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden she just disappeared. And you can't find her at all. I hope she's okay.
Yeah,
I hope she's okay. I hope she's well. I hope she's happy.
Isn't that interesting that you have those little conversations with people and you sort of don't register, in full, and then you see something like this and you go, oh, wow. Yeah. I wonder if that was something to do with, well, I hope she's okay. And like you said, though, like the meditation itself and that group, and great, fine, cool, great idea. But then, like something like this, it just keeps going and going and going further and further and further. And like all the people that it impacted, it was a huge number of people that impacted.
It did. So many people. Yeah. And it would take a long time, like any cult, to get out of that, because you were abused in every way, shape, and form possible.
Yeah.
But the thing is, and I hope no one would feel guilty, because you willingly went in.
Yeah.
And she took advantage.
Oh, absolutely.
She took full advantage of every single person who walked through that door, and shame on her. Shame on her.
100%. And, that's what these bastards do, isn't it? They take advantage of people.
Yeah.
Whew. All right. Well, should we go through this checklist?
Yeah.
So I think this is interesting to go through, and we might go through this on our other episodes we do on cults as well. Just to kind of, put in perspective what all of them have in common. All right. So the first point that we've got here to see if it fits in with this cult mode of operandi or modus operandi is the group is focused on a living leader to whom members seem to display excessively zealous, unquestioning commitment. And I think this definitely has that tick. Check. Because they did things like have sex to solve an argument when they didn't want to. So there you go.
Which begs the question, and I used to be in HR. Where's your HR department?
Right.
I need to talk to this HR manager.
HR were holding the video camera, I guess.
Probably. Okay, so the second one, the group is preoccupied with bringing in new members. Yes,
which leads into the third one, which is the group is preoccupied with making money because
$60,000,
$60,000 for a 1-year membership. Oh, Jesus! And they tell people, "I'll get more credit cards.
Yes,
mortgage your house.
Yes,
all this
sell
stuff
things
just to pay for these courses." So it's really not about helping people.
No, if anyone ever tells you you need this to fix your life and you have to sell something in order to get it, walk the other way.
Right.
Walk the other way.
Exactly.
I had someone tell me that that's how I should, get more coaching clients. It's like, just, well, they can sell something. I'm like, why would I want them to sell something?
Yeah.
If they can't afford it, like, there's ways to work around that. If they really want and can't afford, there's ways to work around it.
Exactly.
And I shuddered because I thought I would never sell something in order to.
Right. Because you probably need that thing, or you could use the money for something else.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Because,
it's actually going to help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, like, it can help you, but once it crosses that line of inappropriate, like, there's a certain point that it just doesn't help anymore. When it turns into a cult, it's not helping anymore.
No, of course. But like, if you're selling that something or getting more credit cards or whatever it is to pay for that thing that's going to help, you're actually creating yourself a problem, potentially a bigger problem financially, by trying to solve a problem.
Right.
So you're not solving anything.
No, you're making it worse.
Yeah.
Making it worse.
100%.
So, okay. So the next one is questioning, doubt, and dissent are discouraged or even punished. Yes. Yeah. If you talked bad about Nicole.
Oh, you were in trouble.
Yeah.
And she would manipulate the people as well. So just talking about Dissent Into The Wormhole.
Woohoo.
Hit subscribe. So she would, someone tried to leave, as an example. And she put on this big spiel, and she was like, oh my God, I can't believe you're going to leave me. And then they said, oh, no, it's okay. I'm not going to leave. She walked 5 meters out the back, and she was like, that worked, didn't it? Completely, like, so she was manipulating people, and that's, a part of that.
Anything that you walk into, if you can't walk out of just as freely as you walked into it, we have a problem.
Yeah.
Anything, a job,
absolutely,
a relationship, and anything.
And if anyone says to you, you can't leave, or how could you leave, or how dare you leave, any of that kind of terminology, big problems. Yeah, big problems.
Yeah.
And the next one says mind-numbing techniques such as meditation, i.e., orgasmic meditation, chanting, speaking in tongues, denunciation sessions, debilitating work routines are used to suppress doubts about the group and its leaders. So if anyone's doubting, then they use these techniques to stop the doubts.
Unless it is a meditation group that you can freely come and go to, and it's just a bunch of people, meditating together. Because it kind of bothers me, just because I am a huge proponent of meditation.
Yeah, absolutely.
And a lot of people do love chanting. Like they find that very soothing as well.
Absolutely.
So I don't want that to be the thing that people say, oh my God, they meditate and they chant and run away screaming. Because it could be very, very helpful and very, very healing for you. But if it's used in a way, because you can use your meditation and your chanting to use NLP techniques to get to change the thought process of someone. You just got to make sure that you're in control of your meditation and your chanting.
Yeah. Well, I think that you're such a good point, because a lot of these things on their own are not a problem.
No.
But when you put an ultimatum, or you add the words "or else" at the end of it, then you or a punishment's attached to something, then it becomes negative. Yeah. A positive thing becomes a negative.
Yeah. Exactly.
Crazy.
Okay, so the next one is the leader dictates, sometimes in great detail, how members should think, act, and feel. For example, members must get permission from leaders to date, change jobs, get married. Leaders may prescribe what types of clothes to wear, where to live, how to discipline children, and so forth. And she did this because she had her people living in the same
living in the place.
In the place. And clothing, I'm sure it was non-clothing. Dating, I don't know if she gave permission for people to date, but she definitely made people. She didn't make anyone do anything. Well, she kind of did. That's the thing with her manipulation. Anyway, by the by, she did kind of tell people who they could have sexual encounters with.
Yes, and she told people they could have sexual encounters with someone who didn't want to have a sexual encounter with that person. Right. And that was all part of it. And, as far as thinking, acting, and feeling, I mean, she told them how to feel. You feel like this because, so someone's feeling awkward about getting an ohm or having someone touch them. Well, that's your problem. Yes. You've got a problem there. So you need to orgasm that out. Yeah. You need to work through that. Let somebody touch you so you can get over that.
Yeah. And you know what? That is my problem. And I'm proud to have that problem that I don't want this person touching me in that way. Right. It is my problem.
Of course.
Like, and how can you honestly have a great OM experience when you have a person touching you? You're like, I don't want this person to touch me. I don't want this person to touch me. All you're going to do is clamp up and there'll be no OM. So it's a waste.
Well, and you bring up a great point. How much of our sexual enjoyment comes from emotional connection?
All of it, I think.
Right. Compared to just a physical experience.
Yeah. Like it can feel good.
Some of it's physical. Like you can't deny that. Like some of it's physical. But the truly, truly mind-blowing connection comes emotionally.
Yeah.
So a combination of the two.
Right.
So to have some stranger, like, you know, like if from my point of view, like if some random chick was giving me a hand shandy, it's not the same. Like it is not the same.
Right.
Yeah. Just can't shake it. Shake and not stir.
That's one.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So the next one is the group is elitist, claiming a special, exalted status for itself. Its leader or leaders and members, for example, the leader is considered a messiah or an avatar. The group and or the leader has a special mission to save humanity.
Well, she was saving, women from the shame of themselves. Like she did a good job there. But this whole thing, considered a messiah, she was priesting people.
Yes. She was saying she was the exalted one.
Yeah.
Who could have this, she was going to save humanity. She was the only one who could do it.
Yeah.
And this was the only way she could do it. And she was giving people priesthoods and it was all made up.
Yeah.
Of course.
Like, I was going to say, I could say that about myself.
You know what?
Make you a priest.
I'm going to knight you right now. I hereby knight thee, Miss something. Miss Beza Rudy.
Done.
That's it. Don't anyone question that. That's official.
Yeah. It's going on all my documents.
Yeah. It's the same thing though.
I get first class privileges everywhere I go now.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
She did. Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, next one.
Okay. The group has a polarized us versus them mentality, which causes conflict with the wider society.
Yes. Now, this is one thing I found interesting. Entire languages form in these cults, and people don't know how to communicate outside of these cults. So, and some of these OneTaste people who left mentioned this. They didn't know how to kind of interact with the wider society, and it becomes the people in the cult say, wow, people out there just don't understand. And we're far more enlightened because of our Messiah than what these people are outside the cult. Meanwhile, a lot of them are just giving hand shandies.
Well, yeah, I can imagine if you're so far down the rabbit hole and all this is sex. It's all it's about is sex. Because she got into BDSM and she got into to all that. I'm not judging. I'm just saying if that's what you want to do, then just go to. There are teachers who will teach you how to do BDSM. Course. She was just not one of them.
No, and that's right. And the other thing is, like, we're not shaming anybody.
No.
Like, if anybody wants to, do any of these things that was happening in this cult, cool. If it's consensual between all parties.
Yeah.
But this was not.
Yep.
And that's what makes it disgusting.
Yeah.
And so the next one is the group's leader is not accountable to any authorities. For example, military commanders and ministers, priests, monks, or rabbis of the mainstream denomination. So I
don't know if she.
Well, no one came after her though until the FBI eventually did. And that was because of the one girl who came forward and had a horrific story about what happened to her. But in general, cults, have that, like, where they're not accountable to authorities and stuff. And that's why a lot of them go for religions and religious stuff, because there's a lot of exemptions around religious organizations, especially in the US, because it gets into free speech and all that kind of stuff. But probably of all of these, probably that one the least, I think, for OneTaste and Nicole Daedone is probably the least applicable to her.
I think she got away with it for so long because so I'm just going to say it because she was a woman.
Right.
No one sees really women as predatory.
Exactly.
No one. We've been
Yes.
so washed with this idea that all women are good and all women are caring and all women have that sensitive, empathetic, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's not true.
No.
Women can be just as damaging as men.
Yep.
And men can be just as caring, kind, and empathetic.
Absolutely.
As women.
Yeah.
So I think she got away with it because no one saw it. So I'm just going to say no one saw her coming.
Right. And plenty of people did, actually. Lots of people. Entire auditoriums. But the other thing is, she's not particularly attractive, but she's not an unattractive woman either.
No, she's not.
So, it's not like, say, I don't know, someone like Rosie O'Donnell or like Roseanne Barr, like those type of physiques and stuff. Like she was a average, semi-attractive looking woman.
Yeah,
and so it helps with getting away with that stuff.
It does.
Because
this can save you from so much stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, the same way the other, flipping the coin, someone who looks like Brad Pitt is going to get away with a lot more than someone that looks like Danny DeVito.
Right. Oh, poor Danny.
Loved him in The Penguin. So good. Anyway, we digress. What was the next one?
Not accountable. The group teachers. Let's start that again. The group teaches or implies that it supposedly exalted ends justify means that members would have considered unethical before joining the group. For example, collecting money for bogus charities. For example, taking your pants off and having,
oh my God,
all your sexual everything out there for the whole room to see. I'm sure a lot of people wouldn't have, if you told them a month before that they would be doing that, and then doing it to other people and with strangers. Like it just turned into like this whole swinging thing that she wanted to see how far she could push people. Yeah. But having sex with a coworker. Yeah. Because your boss told you to.
Yeah. And that's such a good way of putting it there. The ends justifying the means. Yeah. That's so what they do. It's like, well, we know we're asking you to do this horrible thing, right? But it's for the betterment of society. We're going to save humanity. We're doing this great thing that's way over there, up here, over around the corner. No one can see it, what we're actually doing, but it's great. And so do this horrible stuff and we'll get there.
Right.
Stupid. I mean, I shouldn't say stupid, but it is. Like, it's so unethical, it's so bad, and it's such manipulation.
Yeah.
Okay, so then the next one is the leadership induces guilt feelings in members in order to control them.
Yeah.
Huge one.
Yeah.
Huge one.
Yeah, she was good at the guilt trips. Well, the one that you said where she, the one lady wanted to leave and she started with the tears.
Yep.
But you raise your hand if you've been in that situation where you tried to leave a situation and no one turned on the tears. I've been there.
Yeah.
I've been there. A lot of us, I think every single person.
Lots of people have,
Yeah, tried to get out of a situation and you got roped back in with just a few tears.
Yep.
That were not real.
Yeah. And then, that person who's in tears walks away and they're like, yes, did it again. Yeah. No real tears, no real. Yeah.
And the person just got manipulated into staying into something that to actually get the balls to turn up, rock up and say, I'm leaving, I'm out. Yeah. And then to be manipulated back, you'll never say, hey, I'm leaving again.
Yeah. Exactly. You'll never do it again.
Nope. Very good at what she did.
Oh, yeah.
The leadership, members' subservience to the group causes them to cut ties with family and friends and to give up personal goals and activities that were interest before joining the group.
Sadly, yes.
Yes, she did that. Tick, tick.
Lots of families cut off and not speaking and all of that. And it ties into that us and them mentality. Yeah. But again, like she got people to move in. She got people to be working ridiculous hours. Like some of them were working 22 hours a day, trying to sell, of course, on the sales side of things, trying to sell more packages, sell memberships, sell blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So she could make money. And so you got no time for other activities either. So this cult thing becomes your whole life. makes it even harder to leave.
Yeah, she was doing pop-up stores all over the place. And it's
Yes.
like, and from the, if she just kept it simple,
Yes.
she wouldn't have had to run away. The FBI would have left her alone. She just would have been a business like everybody else. That's it.
Yep.
She could even have a little store. She could have a little shop, like a little massage parlor, let's call it, but for couples to come in, or maybe just, men. And she has like a little,
right.
fake one where
exactly
create the fake one. Oh my God.
Okay. No, don't. And then they can give classes. Perfect. But like, but
I'm so glad you can read my mind.
But it's so true though. Like, if she had have just kept it contained to that simple above belt idea, then good things would have come.
Yeah. Yes, they would have.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so the next one is members are expected to devote inordinate amounts of time. Well, we just talked about that one, and that was, with people giving their whole lives and everything. So that one's tick. She did that. Yep.
And you did the last one.
Okay. Members are encouraged or required to live and or socialize only with other group members. And there you go again. Like, so there was this whole language that got built up within the group. They were living together. They all worked together 24/7. So who are you going to hang out with? Well, the only other people who understand. Mm-hmm. Like, and we're naturally in life drawn to people who have similar interests to us anyway. Mm-hmm. But this is an extreme sense in these, cults, and in this case with OneTaste. Yeah, they all live together. They all work together. They all did the exact same thing. And so, they only socialize with themselves. Yeah. And so you don't hear anything else from outside. You don't see what's going on. There's no opportunity for anyone to raise any concerns with you from outside because you're not talking to them.
Right.
Anyway,
right. So they have rebranded because they are now doing, I forget what it was called. Can you Google real quick? What she changed it to? Because I completely forgot.
They're just calling it own stuff.
No, but they are selling it online. Apparently, they're doing what they probably should have done originally. As I said, like evergreen courses were very much available. We had the platforms to do it. Very easy, cheap. She could have done this from the get-go, but they are online selling how to do things. But they did rebrand.
Institute of Om.
Institute of Om, that's what it's called. Mm-hmm. So that's what she's doing. And they were interviewing one of the girls, and she used to live within the community. And I don't know why she keeps going back. It's none of my business. But she said every time I go back, she's like, even though it's horrific, I feel like I'm going home.
Yeah.
And that is what toxic, manipulative people do. They make themselves feel like home. Mm-hmm. And they're not, because you're like, well, this was the worst experience of my life, but I feel like it's home. Yeah, it's an abusive home, but it feels comfortable because that's what they know and came to know. And so damaging. But I suppose, like we said, we want to do this series to maybe if one person sees this podcast, sees this series, and either doesn't join a cult themselves or is aware of it, or if one of their family members, kids, whoever it is, they can be aware of it and go, hang on a second, that doesn't sound right, and help them maybe before they get into a cult. Then that's kind of what we're doing here. And it's interesting to us, in the sense of behavior, people's behavior as well. But check out OneTaste. It's called Orgasm Inc., the documentary on Netflix. Very disturbing, also very interesting. But I'd love to hear what people have to say in the comments, like about this, if they've watched it too, and if we've missed some stuff, or we may have, because it was a few weeks ago that we watched it. So we may have. So we apologize if we did. But like also too, it's fascinating for me because as we were talking with Aaron Smith-Levin, I did tell him there was a time where I would have found myself in a cult. Yeah. I was so lost. And I was just searching. I was out. I was just out searching for anything to make myself feel good. And I know damn well I would have ended up in a cult. So so the fact that I'm aware of it, I was like, how close was I? Yeah. How close was I to signing up on the dot, like.
Well, yeah, I think a lot of people have had that time.
Yeah.
I've had that time as well where I could have easily, and it's very easy for people to sit back and say, how could anyone join? How could anyone do that? I'd never do that. But, think about the most vulnerable time you've had in your life. And I'm glad, I'd be so happy if people haven't ever had that time.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, so many people have had that vulnerable time in their life where they just would be desperate for something, anything to fulfill them, to feel a part of something and all of that. So, whilst I find cults ridiculous and I find what they do disgusting, I can see why people get into it.
Oh, all day long, because they sell you such a beautiful bag of goods.
They do, yeah.
It's a beautiful goodie bag at first.
And the manipulation that happens once you're in.
Yeah.
Yeah. But hopefully people can avoid getting into these things and, be able to get help to get out. So,
yeah. Great.
Thank
you.
Thank you.
Okay.
So much fun.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I hope everyone has a great day. Hope you enjoy.
Bye, guys.
Bye.